What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Madden 24 video where I talk about the team and play Madden and do all that good stuff. Our team here is the Cleveland Browns, as you can clearly see. And if you notice the title, I've got an interesting, thought process with this team. Because they made the playoffs last year, which is actually extremely impressive considering the amount of injuries they had. Nick Chubb got injured, Deshaun Watson got injured. I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson and PJ Walker also got injured, so they had to get Joe Flacco to play quarterback, and that worked out because he was able to propel them to the playoffs. And, it's just insanely impressive that a team with that many injuries made the playoffs. They didn't win a playoff game or anything like that, which, you can't expect a team like that to win a playoff game. Because that many injuries, there's only so much you can do. But the thing with the Browns, I feel like, is are they Super Bowl contenders or are they just a playoff contender? Because, it's an interesting subject. Because you look at this team and they're really talented, but it's when you look at the quarterback, there's no stability there. Deshaun Watson's not very good anymore. And Joe Flacco, he's not even on the team anymore, but he wasn't going to be their long-term option for obvious reasons. And is Nick Chubb and the rest of the offense enough to carry Deshaun Watson? Because I feel like he's kind of holding the team back. Because they kind of have to go with him. They gave him, a contract, a $230 million fully guaranteed contract. So it's not like the Browns are going to go and, sign someone. The only reason they even had Joe Flacco was because Deshaun had a, season-ending injury. Had that not happened, he would have been the guy, regardless of whether or not he's talented. So I think really that contract is really what's holding this team back. Because everything else, their defense is insanely good. Myles Garrett is one of the best anchors on a defense you could have in the NFL. He probably was, he actually did win Defensive Player of the Year. He was actually injured for a little bit too, which that makes him winning Defensive Player of the Year that more impressive. Because him on the Browns, he's kind of like the quarterback, but for their defense. He is very important for that team. Because if they don't have him, they're kind of screwed. They're kind of if TJ Watt's not in the Steelers, it's one of those guys. A very impactful defensive player. And, it's just one of those things where, you kind of have to hope he doesn't get injured. Because if they get injured, their defense... they were all right last year, but they definitely had some really bad moments. I think he low-key carried their defense a little bit. And, the question is, it's you have to hope that he stays healthy, which is kind of concerning, because plays a very physical, position. It's not like a quarterback where it's less physical and the injury rate is less. No, these guys, they get hit on every play and they're just, going up against offensive linemen that are way bigger than them usually. And, it's just the nature of the position. It's just more probability to get injured. And, that's a whole thing. And then the offense, as I just mentioned, with Deshaun Watson, who's holding the team back. And, in all reality, this team probably won't win a Super Bowl in the next, years with Deshaun Watson. They need a quarterback who's good. Because if they're going to pay a quarterback that much, it's already a gamble enough to do that, even if the quarterback is good. But if the quarterback is not good, which Deshaun Watson isn't, I think we can all agree on that. It's you've kind of just put yourself in such a loophole. You're going to be good enough to where you make the playoffs, but you're also not going to be bad enough to, get a high draft pick to draft a, top tier quarterback. But they're also not, good enough to actually push for a Super Bowl, I feel like. I mean, maybe if they get a different quarterback under center, they could maybe surprise me or something. I mean, they signed Jameis Winston in free agency. And, I mean, they also... I just mentioned they had to get rid of Joe Flacco, but I think Jameis Winston's a good option for a backup if just Sean Watson really struggles. Because he'd have to really, mess up for him to not be the starter. Because they've already invested, so much money into him. So the Browns are obviously hoping Deshaun Watson's the guy, considering all the money. But, the reality is, this guy didn't play football for nearly 2 full years. And it's really hard to come back from that. Michael Vick did it. He went to prison, though, and came back. But, not all players can do that. Deshaun was good in his prime. He was really good. But the last time he was in his prime was in 2020. And he had to take, near 2-year break for, all the shit he did off the field. But it's giving him that contract's probably going to hurt the Browns. This is basically what you were anticipating whenever you gave him the deal. Because, everyone knew this was a bad contract. And everyone was like, what the hell are the Browns doing? Why would you give a guy like this a fully guaranteed contract? And it was just everyone kind of was saying the Browns were stupid and being the Browns. Because, they were. Why in the hell would you give Deshaun Watson that much money when you had a capable starter in Baker Mayfield? I know Baker had a down year in his last year and things kind of, got a little, shaky between the relationship between him and the Browns. But, I can't even blame Baker for being mad at the Browns. They literally actively went and looked for Deshaun Watson and other quarterbacks. It's and you just got their team to the playoffs, got them their first playoff win in 20 years in 2020. And it's you gotta you respect the quarterback you got, and they got greedy. And this is kind of the price they have to pay for that. Cause Baker's, actually doing good right now. He's on the Bucks, but we'll talk about the Bucks in our next video. And this is kind of what the Browns get for not, believing in Baker Mayfield. And, I can't say I feel bad for him because, it's a really dumb mistake. If you make a mistake like this, you are just a fucking idiot franchise, which is kind of what the Browns are. And, I don't know. They're still good, so maybe they can, shock me and make a Super Bowl run or something like that. But, I definitely don't see that happening just because of, their situation at quarterback. And it's a shame, too, because a lot of these players are really good. Nick Chubb is one of the best running backs in the NFL. Myles Garrett's one of the best defensive players in the NFL. And their wide receiver core, it isn't bad. Amari Cooper's really good. David Njoku is really good. And you got guys like Elijah Moore. They signed Jerry Jeudy, too. So it's you got the guys, but, the one guy who's the most important position on the team is probably going to be what is going to hold this team back for the next couple of years. Because I'm sure some people will say they're Super Bowl contenders, but, it's just it's going to be harder for them to, get, better with the contract and all that. They still don't have a first-round pick this year due to the Deshaun Watson trade because they had to trade 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. And, it just doesn't, it doesn't work out. It clearly hasn't worked out, at least not with him. Obviously the Browns did good this year. They won 11 games despite all the injuries, and they actually looked like a Super Bowl contender, and then they kind of fizzled out in the playoffs when they had to play against a legitimate playoff team. So yeah, they're kind of screwed when it comes to that. And, I still think they're going to be good next year. I don't think they're going to be a bad team or anything. I think the entire AFC North is going to be pretty good, but, they might be the worst team in the AFC North. The Steelers got better with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields as quarterbacks of the team. The Ravens are still going to be an anchor, as they were the top seed in the AFC, and they nearly made the Super Bowl. And then you got the Bengals, who they were the worst team last year, but I mean, that was really only because of all the injuries. I mean, Joe Burrow had a season-ending injury, and I think the Bengals, I mean, as much as I'm kind of talking shit about the Browns and their QB situation, if there's one thing I will give them, they are nowhere near as reliant on their quarterback as the Bengals are. I mean, they're one of those teams where they can plug in a guy, but the question is, that guy that they plug in, is he enough to win a Super Bowl? And I mean, honestly, I really don't think so, because you got all these teams with elite quarterbacks like the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Bills, you know. You could throw maybe the 49ers in there, maybe the Eagles, the Cowboys. Like, the thing that all those teams have, they have a very good quarterback. At the very least, a very good quarterback on their team. And, that's just kind of how the NFL is right now. I mean, you just have to, get a quarterback who is very good to elite, and, you just have to, hope that things work out, and, you build your team around him. I mean, the Texans have done it. I mean, CJ Stroud, he's an elite quarterback, and they're building around him. I mean, they're definitely a Super Bowl contender. I didn't mention them, but I'd be pretty stupid not to mention them as a Super Bowl contender. The Lions, they're like a worse version of the Lions, I feel like, because the Lions have a capable quarterback in Jared Goff, but people always question Jared Goff on whether or not he's good enough to win a Super Bowl. And I mean, at least he's made a Super Bowl. I mean, he made a Super Bowl with the Rams in Super Bowl 53. I mean, he didn't win it, but that was just because Bill Belichick had a defensive game plan that was, a mastermind. I mean, they were able to shut down that Rams offense that was unstoppable throughout the year. And, so I think Jared Goff's good enough, but Deshaun Watson's definitely not as good as Jared Goff. He's just he's arguably a bottom tier quarterback. Like, if I was ranking him on a scale of 1 to 32 throughout the teams, I'd probably put him at maybe 20 or 25 or something like that. Because it's just you gotta think about all the other guys that are in the league. I mean, you can't just say he's good enough anymore like you could back in the day, but, that's just kind of how it is. And, it sucks for the Browns because they're a good team, but not good enough, and they're just stuck in not mediocrity, but they're stuck in they're just good enough to not be mediocre, but they're also not good enough to really make a difference, when it comes to the playoffs and all that. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox now and talk about, Madden. We just won our first game, so I guess congratulations to me for not messing that game up like I almost did. Our next opponent is the Philadelphia Eagles, and right now we actually got the ball back as the Eagles go 4 and out. And you will notice in this game that I actually have Joe Flacco starting in this game. I figured since Deshaun Watson and Joe Flacco both played a significant amount of time on the Browns this year, I figure I'd use them both, because, it's only fair to give Joe Flacco a game to play as him, since he was able to propel the Browns to the playoffs. And Deshaun Watson did play for most of the year before, his season-ending injury. And, the other guys who played, I don't think they're too significant to where I need to play a game with them. Plus, I'm not playing more than 2 games of Madden. And if I'm going to pick 2 quarterbacks to use, I'm definitely picking Deshaun Watson and Joe Flacco. And this is our Joe Flacco game. We'll see how the Browns do, as we are off to an early start as we're up 7-0. And the Eagles have the ball back. It's 2nd down and 8. Jalen Hurts back to pass. He's going to throw. Pass is nearly picked off, but it will fall incomplete, as it was a tiny bit of an underthrow by Jalen Hurts. It'll be 3rd down and 8, and passes caught by Dallas Goedert, as that was some good route running to get himself open there and get the Eagles a 1st down. It'll be 1st and 10 again. Jalen back to pass, going to go deep to Goedert again, but this time he is not open, and he almost throws another pick. As the Browns, if they can just snatch one of these picks, that'd be a big, turning point, as we do actually sack Jalen Hurts. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is a very good Madden player. 3rd down and 25. He's going to go deep to Quez Watkins, and it was an overthrow, but probably a good overthrow because that was covered heavily by Denzel Ward. As the Eagles do punt the ball, Browns will have the ball back. Joe throwing to Elijah Moore, as that was a very good throw. It was a tight window, but Joe Flacco can make that throw. As now it's 1st and 10. We throw to Elijah Moore again. We'll see if we utilize him, because we've been using him so far a lot in this game and in the first game as well, too, because he made a lot of, clutch receptions in that game. I didn't get to talk about it because I was too busy talking about the Browns and their future and their present, all that. But, he's having a good game. I can't not acknowledge that. As the end of the first quarter, we actually had to take a penalty because Madden is, Madden. 2nd and 17, Joe Flacco throwing, passes caught by Amari Cooper. Another tight window, but Joe Flacco is able to throw it into there. It'll be 1st down and goal, Joe Flacco at the 9, and he gets taken down by Josh Sweat, as it'll be 2nd down and goal at the 16. He didn't really have any hopes on that play. He had no time to throw or anything, as this time he does find his man, Amari Cooper, who was open in the end zone for a touchdown. And the Browns are up by 2 touchdowns, and this is a very good start against a team like the Eagles, who, unlike the Browns, in my opinion, are a Super Bowl contender, because they got Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, elite defense, Devontae Smith, a bunch of guys, an elite offensive line. They got a lot of stuff that, you can, put your head behind or believe in. And, the Browns have a lot of that stuff, too. But, the one thing the Eagles do have that the Browns don't is an elite quarterback. And that's just how it is. 1st down and 10, DeAndre Swift, who is actually a Chicago Bear as I make this video, gets a gain of 1 yard to make it 2nd down and 9. Jalen Hurts is going to throw a screen pass, but it's not exactly set up correctly, as DeAndre Swift was not able to get open. 3rd down and 9. Jalen Hurts is going to throw deep to A.J. Brown, and this nearly gets picked off by Denzel Ward, but A.J. Brown was in front of him and probably was able to force the incompletion. 4th down and 9. This time the pass is caught by Dallas Goedert, and that was a good throw by Jalen Hurts. And that's going to keep the chains alive for the Eagles, as they definitely needed something, because they were getting killed on offense by the Browns defense. This 1st down and 10, pass is caught by A.J. Brown, and this will take us to the 2-minute warning. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Jalen Hurts is going to pass pressure, and he makes the throw under pressure. Credit to him. Dallas Goedert making the catch at the 1-yard line. 1st and goal, Jalen is just going to run this in, as he had it all the time in the world because the Browns couldn't figure out what he was doing, and he gets a touchdown there, as now the Eagles are within a touchdown, and now the Browns have the ball back. We'll see what they can do. Wide open is David Njoku, as he's able to get the reception and then some after he gets taken down at the 44. 1st down and 10. He's going to throw. It is caught by Amari Cooper. Not the best read, but it is a catch for 3 yards. 2nd down and 7. Joe Flacco is going to go to David Bell, but it's picked off by Isaiah Rodgers Sr. The former Colt, now Eagle, is going to take it all the way for a pick 6, as that was not a good decision by Joe Flacco, as he threw it. And he threw it a little bit under the guy, and there was a, corner right there, and he was able to get a pick 6, so unfortunate for us, as we'll see if we can, rebound from that, as we were up by 14, now it's tied. Don't want to mess this game up like we almost messed the first game up. It'll be 2nd and 10, 2-yard gain by Nick Chubb after that reception. It'll be 3rd down and 8, 27 seconds left in the half. Joe Flacco is going to throw, and pass is caught by David Njoku. Not a good throw, but it was a good catch by David Njoku. And now it's first down and 10 at the 41. Nick Chubb taking this one, and oh my gosh, he didn't have any room to run as Josh Sweat able to take that one as we actually spiked the ball. Curious decision there, as now it'll be third down and 12 at the 43. We'll see what the Browns do here. Joe Flacco back to pass. He's going to throw a deep pass to Njoku, but it is not caught, and it hits the ground. It'll be fourth down and 12 with about 4 seconds left. And we actually attempt a field goal here as the kick is up, and it is no good, as it might have been good, but we weren't accurate enough to even get it within the region of the field goal crossbar. So it'll be halftime 14-14, as this is unfortunate considering where we were at the first quarter and second quarters, and here we are in the third quarter, tie game. We need to see if we can make the most of this. Second down and 2, we do get the ball at half, so that's a little bit of silver lining for our quote-unquote collapse that we are kind of having a little bit. As first down and 10, oh man, Joe Flacco throws a pass directly to Isaiah Rodgers Sr. as he gets his second pick six of the day. As we're giving up more points on offense than defense, which is actually really pathetic, because you have to give up 2 pick sixes on offense, and that's what we just did. And we've only given up 1 offensive touchdown. It looks like our defense is the one that's doing bad, but our defense is still holding their own. It's our offense that needs to, kick it into high gear and stop playing around. Second down and 7, Nick Chubb takes the carry for a nice -5 yards to make it third down and 12 at the 23. Joe Flacco back to pass. He's going to throw, and it is an overthrow, as it'll be fourth down and 12 at the 23. As we are going to go for this, we'll see if it works out. Joe Flacco on 4th and 12 is going to throw. Passes caught by Elijah Moore. Good throw by Joe Flacco. I don't know if it makes up for the other shit he did earlier in the game, but, hey, I will give him his flowers. That was a good throw. It's first down and 10. That was just bad coverage by the Eagles, as Amari Cooper was wide open. As now it's first and 10 at the 17 of the Eagles. We'll see if we can punch this in, as Joe Flacco throwing wide open is Elijah Moore again, as he has been phenomenal in both the games. I got to give him some credit. Usually whenever I play, I have the one guy who does really good, and it looks like he's that guy. As it's a tie game, Eagles have the ball back, and it is a tie game. They still have momentum. We'll see if the Browns can get a stop here, because their defense has been pretty good. But as soon as I say that, DeAndre Swift is going to get a very long touchdown, as the Browns couldn't cover that wheel route very well. And now we're down by a touchdown again, and we have to see if our offense can, keep up with this Eagles offense, which is, just had a big play, as we actually do get a catch by Amari Cooper. Good throw by Joe Flacco. Nick Chubb taking this for a 1-yard gain. It'll be second down and 9. Joe Flacco back to pass. He's going to get taken down. It'll be third down and 16, and that will end the third quarter. As man, oh man, that was one of our worst quarters. The second and third quarters are what have been killing us, because we have 14 points. Our offense kind of helped give up 14 points. It's 4th and 25. It looks like we're in spike formation. We'll see what happens here. As obviously I'm not going to spike the ball on 4th and 25. That was just me pressing B a little bit too quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut to the delay of game. We're just going to punt, because 4th and 30, I honestly do not believe that our offense can pick that up, and we're just going to trust our defense to get a stop, and if they do, we will have a chance. As hopefully we can do that. It's second down and 9 after the 1-yard rush. Pass is caught by DeAndre Swift, but he loses 3 yards after the tackle by the defensive tackle. Third down and 12. Big play by both these teams here. Jalen throwing wide open is A.J. Brown, as the Browns don't exactly cover A.J. Brown, and this is kind of pathetic considering it was 3rd and 12, and all you had to do was not give a play like that up. And, we probably lost this game, but, we gotta play it out. We're not going to quit the game or anything like that. Second down and 9. Jalen does get tackled. It'll be third down and 7. Browns are not going to use their second timeout. It'll be third down and 7. There was a 2-minute warning. 3rd and 7. Deep pass to Dallas Goedert, and it is incomplete. And the Eagles, it's 4th and 7. I'm assuming they'll kick a field goal. That they will. If they make this, it's basically over. And it is. And unfortunately for the Browns offense, they will not really have much of an opportunity. I mean, if they score real quick and maybe get an onside kick, they might. But, I mean, the chances of that happening are slim to none. As we'll see if the offense can, try to get themselves in a position to where that could be possible. Is 2nd and 10, Joe Flacco, man, he's been overthrowing his receivers a lot in this second half. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Joe Flacco's going to throw a pass. Is caught by Harrison Bryant. A little bit too late, though. And we'll see what we can do. I mean, the routes are all squiggly and stuff, so that's a bit of a challenge. 2nd down and 10 after the incompletion. Knocked down by an Eagle. Don't know his name. 2nd and 10. Joe is going to throw a deep pass, but it's another overthrow as the receiver, tight end, did not have a chance on that play. I'm not throwing that on him. That was just a horrible throw. If he would have thrown it, in his vicinity, I mean, he might have had a chance. As the Eagles can basically clinch the game with a 1st down. Jalen running, and he is going to get the 1st down. And it looks like we lost. I mean, yeah, that's end of the game there, 31-21. As, man, that one sucks because we were up by 14 and we were actually playing really good and we just couldn't capitalize on the opportunity. But I guess that happens sometimes. I'll see you in my next video. I'll be using the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Until then, stay safe. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.